Also, to any surviving Mayans that may be watching this, your ancestors were super badass. To those out of the know, imagine watching a high-profile prisoner get their heart pulled out of their chest, still beating. The heart is still beating in the priest's hand. And you considered this was an extravagant meal for the being who waters your food, for the being that grows your crops. I'm getting engorged just thinking about it. You're gonna have to excuse me.
Preceding shock was Kukul Khan, a giant snake covered with feathers, whose tail created wind, thus predicting the rain. His name means feathered serpent and wisest of men. I find it interesting that the Abrahamic religions vilified snakes and serpents and reptiles and whatnot, but the ancient Americans revered them. While most of his mythology has been lost, modern folklore has some nuggets. The Yucatec say he creates earthquakes in July to let his estranged sister know that he is safe, and that he flew to the sun to speak to it, but the sun burned his tongue out of vanity, which reminds me of the hubris of Icarus. The Chiapas, on the other hand, say he's a monstrous, evil snake, pet of the sun god. To honor Kukul Khan, a game called Pok Ta Pok was played. The rules differed by region and time, but in general, the objective was to hit a 4-kilogram ball with your hips through a vertical hoop raised off of the ground. My favorite alteration was by the Purepecha, who lit the ball on fire. Once the ball was hit through one of the hoops, the game was over, and somebody got decapitated. I found contradictory evidence on who was sacrificed. Some sources say it was the losing team, other sources the losing team's captain, other sources the winning team. I don't know, I'd kind of believe anything at this point. It's... I thought Damnatio and Bestius was pretty cool. And then they lit the ball on fire.
Usted me dice, ¿puede hablar sobre el fuego? Le vas a ti kako ma uch kako ne. Utiale luna, vas tiktole le ek yantu kanlo. Luego le dan base le table kan kako. Utuba ach malo chak base tiktole uch ben mako po. Luego ach ustik tam base ach malo base. Puede repetirlo en español. Que el juego de pelota, la pelota de juego encendida, es un honor para nosotros jugarlo. Es dedicado al Kinichahao, al dios de la luz, de la noche, de la luna. Y para nosotros es un honor jugarlo, nos emociona agarrar el juego, jugarlo. Es un honor para nosotros.
Sometimes it was played as part of a larger ceremony. Sometimes instead of combat, as a proxy war for feuding nobility. Sometimes it was played for recreation by children, but I am disappointed that they wore loincloths. I was hoping that it would be like the Olympics, which were naked. The coolest mythological story I found was of the hero twins, Hunahpu and Ixtlilxochitl. They went to the underworld, Xibalba, to avenge their father's death. They challenged the death gods to a game of Pok Ta Pok and tricked them into killing themselves. Game! Recognized game! And for the sequel, this equinox, these two sons of Blood Moon Shkeek will face their greatest challenge yet. Critics are nauseated. Get ready to call your therapist, coming to a skull pile near you. But I digress. These two brothers were conceived when the demon Blood Moon Shkeek, spoke to the tree that grew from the severed head of their father. I have daddy issues, but that's a whole new level. The skull spat on her hand and she became pregnant. Now, I can't tell if that is a pseudo-virgin birth or if it's a euphemism for necrophilic... Different social statuses could be differentiated by the shape of the different people's heads. Ancient Mayans would gradually deform their children's skulls during development to resemble the maize god. And if that's not spicy enough for you, go look up trepanation. And then Phineas Gage. I can't think of a transition from really interesting mythology to math and calendars. Transition! Their calendar had 20 days to a month and 18 months to a year. But what about the other 5 days? Were they simply erased from history? Like October 5th through 14th, 1582? Or September 3rd through 13th, 1752? No, they were master astronomers. After the 18th month, there was a 5-day period that was considered super unlucky. Imagine Friday the 13th, but a week long. The days of weeping, the days of evil. The devil is loose, hell is open. There is no goodness, only evil. The month of nameless days has come. Days of pain, days of evil, the black days. I would totally choose to have a week-long Friday the 13th instead of a New Year's Eve. I mean, I don't like parties, I don't like getting drunk with people that I can barely tolerate sober. And just having a week where everybody is uncomfortable and I can just hijinks. Do you remember at the start of the video when I made a really crass joke about human sacrifice and how it arouses me? Well, okay, it doesn't. I'm not into killing people. I should specify that. Killing people is wrong. Killing people is wrong. But the moment you've been waiting for is here. The most common sacrifice was heart extraction. Great care was taken to not injure the victim unnecessarily so that the heart would continue beating after it was removed from the chest cavity. Blood was seen as delicious and nutritious for the gods, which is supported scientifically by Jose Salvador Alvarenga, who survived 14 months adrift across the Pacific Ocean from 2012 to 2014 by drinking turtle blood. Blood was like currency to the gods, so it was normally extracted through the nose, the mouth, the eyes, or the penis. In some rituals, the body was then thrown down the steps of the pyramid. Assistant priests then skinned everything except the victim's hands and feet, and wore that skin to perform the dance of rebirth. If the victim was honorable or courageous in life, his flesh was then eaten by the spectators. Another ritual was to cut yourself with an obsidian blade, collect the blood with bird feathers, and burn the soaked feathers. If the blood was from your penis, it especially represented fertility. More obscure was drinking the bathwater of a deceased relative, entombing a woman alive with a deceased nobleman, or shooting a victim's chest full of arrows. Of course, they were also burning people, but hey, everybody was burning people. So, like, whatever.